Hello everyone, it's Rachel Kleinman from rwcrafts.com. I'm here to share with you all of my mistakes and successes in this Dragonfly tag that I'm going to be making. I have this beautiful stamp from Crafty Individuals. It's CI001 Dragonfly Post is the name of this stamp, and I'm going to attempt to use it a variety of ways, and some of those ways work and some of them not so much. So buckle up, you're in for quite a ride and hopefully you learn from my mistakes. All right, I got started I have the tag that's already been gessoed, and I'm just using some book text to collage on top. And I did seal that with Liquitex gloss gel, and it's dried now. And once it's dry, I'm going over it with Paper Artsy fresco paints in Bora Bora and Zesty Zing. Paper Artsy has some really bright colors that are a lot of fun to use. I also like that they dry mostly matte and they dry very quickly. So I'm planning on just doing some like random stamping in the background that I'll be embossing with Wow embossing powder in like a gold brassy color. So I'm not too concerned about where the pattern is at this point. I just want texture. Brassy Twinkle. It's a beautiful like golden bronze color. It's really pretty. So I did prep it by rubbing over the tag with an anti-static tool, and then I used the Versamark embossing ink, and now the best part, going over it with my heat gun to watch all of the powder melt. Now that all of the embossing powder has been melted, I'm going over the tag with the stencil that's also from Paper Artsy. I'm making my own color of structure paste. So with the structure paste, I added just a very small dot of London Bus paint by Paper Artsy, this beautiful red. And it does look a little pink, of course, when it mixed with white. So I'm just adding that in some random spots on the tag. Clean up my space. When you are using a structure paste or modeling paste, it's important to clean your stencil off pretty quickly so that the design in your stencil doesn't get all crusted up by the dried up paste. So I dried it with my heat tool. And now, so this stamp is not mounted. I will link to the foam mount that I typically use. But when I don't have it, I actually ran out. When I don't have it, I just use some removable adhesive from Tombow to add it to my Misty tool. So here's where the first giant mistake happened. I colored over this stamp with a Pitt pen. And if you've watched my videos in the past, a Pitt pen is a permanent ink that dries quickly. So I don't know what I was thinking. It clearly was not going to stay wet long enough. So as I'm doing it, I'm actually like, Rachel, this is a huge mistake, but I just couldn't stop. So then I went over with a dark gelato and I colored in the same parts with the gelato and then misted it really lightly with some water and stamped that. The whole idea of this part was to just get some dimension in the background so that I could cut up the stamp later to add like popped up pieces onto the tag. You'll see later that just doesn't work. So anyways, here I stamped it with VersaFine black ink on some acetate. We'll see again that doesn't work out so well. And I'm also stamping it on some Nina Solar White. Thumbs up, because this time I got what I needed. And the stamp is so beautiful. So I did stamp it a lot of different ways to just see how I could use it later. Now I'm going to heat emboss it with the same embossing powder on some Nina Solar White, the same brassy twinkle. And you can see you just rub off that removable adhesive and your stamp is just how you got it. I normally do mount my stamps with like a foam easy mount, and I actually ran out. I have a whole drawer of Stamp Boutique stamps that I've mounted. So now that's heat embossed, and now gotta figure out what to do next with this tag. I'm not loving it. So on the acetate, this is vellum, sorry. On the vellum, I used VersaFine Black Onyx ink and it's just not going to dry. I can tell with the heat tool that it's not going to dry. I should have used archival black ink on the vellum. That would have dried also permanently, but much faster. So anyways, I pour over with some clear embossing powder because it is quite wet, so it's going to hold the embossing powder. And this gets me really excited. Look how cool that looks. I think it looks awesome. This is going to be perfect. I'm going to cut out the pieces to add on top where I did the gelato. And you can't, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's so shiny and it's also super thick. So it has this dimension to where the clear embossing powder was. So that's where I plan on adding those. I also really like how the gold turned out here on the gold embossing powder. I think it turned out really nice. So I'm cutting out that dragonfly as well. And the little postage stickers too. Cute. Hi everyone, it's time for some real talk, some real self-reflection about what I have done to this tag. I've already made so many mistakes, as you've seen before, and I'm really just not doing this gorgeous stamp any justice. And I walked away from this tag because I didn't know what to do with it. So it's actually been sitting here for 2 days. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining in my office, and that clear embossing powder that I was so excited about, well, it curled up, which is fine. I expect this to happen on something like vellum. But of course, then when I go to straighten it out, it just peels right off. This is just not going to work. So, oh, I was so excited. And then here we go. It's just, man, one disaster after another. So yeah, I've just got to talk to myself, figure out what to do next, and we'll move on. Let's change gears. This turned out beautiful, so I'm happy with the gold. I'm happy with the print. The detail's incredible. But how am I going to put that on this great background? I do love the background, minus this mistake here. So I don't know what we're going to do. Let's find out. All right, I just had to talk to you guys in real time about this real quick. Mistakes happen. It's just paper. We'll try to salvage it. If not, we'll totally change gears. Thank you. Okay, now back to trying to figure out what to do with this tag. I did just have to talk to you guys in real time there so you could get my immediate reaction. So I decided to go with the print on the white cardstock because it really is the most beautiful detailed print and the one that worked the best. I'm going to do my best to blend it in to the tag that I've already created. So you can see I'm using the same type of paint. I'm using the Bora Bora blue and the Zesty Zing yellow, and I'm putting it on top of that, the black detail that just didn't work. And I'm doing the same thing with the stencil. So I'm trying to layer it back in so that it doesn't look like I just cut up a piece of paper and plopped it on top. And I think that in the end, it actually is gonna look like I didn't make 5 mistakes before doing it. So I did the same thing with the structure paste. I mixed it with that red color and I'm adding it onto the edges to make the seams not as noticeable. I found this perfect sentiment in my Dina Wakley, what is that, the collage books that she has. Please do not feed the fears. I think it's perfect for this tag. Don't be afraid of the paper. Don't be afraid of the paint. Just keep going for it. Don't give up. So I saw this sentiment. It was the first thing I saw and I was like, yes, this is what I'm using. I'm still going to use that gold dragonfly. And you can see I just added glue to the center so that I can pop up the wings. I glued down the sentiment and I'm also adding some just small tiny staple detail to the edges. Now I'm using some prism sprays. It's like a bronze color just to add some splatters, and I'm adding a hole punch to the tag that was covered up. And in the end, it all worked out okay. So I'm glad that I walked away and kept trying. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. It's okay to make mistakes. The supplies I use are listed and linked in the description below.